Who let the old lady onto the shooting range? A group of young soldiers burst into laughter, watching the gray-haired woman holding a rusty old rifle. If she can actually hit anything, I'll eat my bullets. But when she took aim and squeezed the trigger, crack! The bullet pierced through 3 targets in a perfect line. A recruit whispered, voice trembling, "Sir, that's Ghost Recon. Setting, Sandridge Training Base, Arizona Desert, home to the elite sniper selection program for frontline units." A woman in her 50s, small frame, slightly hunched shoulders, wearing a faded gray windbreaker, walked into the shooting range area. She carried an ancient M14 rifle, paint chipped off, stock wrapped in discolored cloth tape. The kind of weapon that belonged in a museum, not on an active range. A young officer approached her. "Ma'am, do you need assistance?" "This is a restricted military area," she simply replied. "I just want to fire 1 round. It's been a long time since I've held a rifle." A group of recruits standing nearby erupted in laughter. "Bet she learned to shoot at the nursing home." "Grandma, don't forget to get a shoulder massage after this." One soldier deliberately handed her an AR-15 with the safety still engaged, bolt-locked, testing her. She said nothing, checked the weapon, released the safety, assessed wind direction, and stood up straight. A recruit still laughing. "If you hit anything, I'll volunteer to clean rifles for a month." But something in her posture changed. The way she held the weapon, the way her breathing steadied, the way her eyes focused downrange. This wasn't an old woman playing with guns. This was someone remembering something important. The targets were set at 300 meters, standard qualification distance, but the recruits had arranged them in an unusual pattern, thinking it would be impossible for a civilian to hit even one. 3 metal plates, offset at different angles, the kind of setup designed to test advanced marksmen. She raised the rifle. No electronic scope, just iron sights that looked older than some of the recruits. The moment she squeezed the trigger. Crack! The bullet flew with impossible precision. It struck the first plate dead center, ricocheted at the exact angle needed to hit the second plate, then deflected perfectly to ring the third target. 3 hits, 1 bullet, a technique that most elite snipers considered theoretical. The range fell silent except for the echo of metal ringing. The recruits stopped laughing. The supervising officer's jaw dropped. Even the range safety coordinator looked confused. Someone whispered, "How is that even possible?" Comment, so unfair if you've seen skilled people get disrespected. After the shot, tension filled the shooting range. An officer immediately ordered, "Civilian personnel must vacate the restricted area." The woman quietly packed her rifle, nodded, and left without protest. No anger, no demands for recognition. But one recruit, Luis, a glasses-wearing theory specialist, started getting suspicious. Luis pulled out old training manuals about Ghost Recon tactics from 2004 to study multi-target ricochet techniques. On a faded page, he saw a photograph of a young woman with cold, sharp eyes standing next to an M14 rifle. The face looked remarkably similar to the elderly woman who just left. Luis whispered, "No way." He ran to report to his platoon leader. "Sir, I think that woman was actually Ghost Recon." The platoon leader burst out laughing. "That's just a legend, kid. Ghost Recon isn't real, just a nickname for elite soldiers from the old days." But that evening, Luis reviewed the range security footage. The thermal imaging showed something incredible. She hadn't used any electronic sighting aids, but she'd calculated wind drift and recoil compensation perfectly. The next morning, Luis dug deeper into classified archives he wasn't supposed to access. What he found made his blood run cold. Operation Phoenix 2005, Ghost Squad, Female Sniper Unit, Classified Casualties, Team Leader Lieutenant Colonel M. Reyes, Status, KIA. But if she was killed in action, how was she here? He found a partial mission report. Ghost Recon achieved impossible shot placement under enemy fire. Confirmed kills, 23 high-value targets. Unit extracted under heavy casualties. Team leader status, unknown. Another document, mostly redacted. Ricochet technique demonstrated in combat conditions. Bullet trajectory analysis defies conventional ballistics. Recommend further study. Luis realized something profound. This wasn't just any old woman. This was a legend who'd been erased from official records. That night, he approached the senior drill instructor. "Sergeant, have you ever heard of a sniper who could make bullets change direction?" "Kid, that's physics-defying nonsense." "But what if it wasn't? What if someone actually mastered ricochet ballistics in combat?" The drill instructor paused. "I heard stories from Afghanistan, soldiers talking about a female sniper who could hit targets around corners. But those were just stories. Stress and imagination? What if they weren't stories?" The drill instructor looked at him seriously for the first time. "Son, if even half those stories were true, that person would be the most dangerous marksman alive." Luis spent the weekend researching everything he could find about Ghost Recon operations. Most files were classified beyond his clearance level, but he found enough fragments to piece together a picture. A female-led sniper team, deployed to the most dangerous zones, impossible mission success rates, and then nothing. No records after 2005, but the most chilling detail was in a medical report he shouldn't have been able to access. Survivor exhibits signs of severe PTSD, refuses military honors, requests discharge and anonymity. Suddenly, everything made sense. The woman at the range wasn't seeking attention. She was hiding from it. Comment "I was wrong" if you've ever completely misjudged someone's background. The next morning, the commanding officer received orders from higher command. The civilian marksman from yesterday is Marina Reyes, former lieutenant colonel, call sign Ghost Recon. She commanded Ghost Squad, the only all-female sniper unit deployed during Operation Phoenix 2005. The base immediately assembled all personnel. Marina was invited back for a demonstration exercise. Marina appeared, still wearing the same faded gray windbreaker, still carrying the cloth-wrapped M14. Standing before 120 soldiers, she straightened up, eyes forward. "I'm not here to compete. I'm here to remind you that some tests don't need anyone to write the questions. The challenge, 3 randomly moving targets, changing position every 5 seconds. Marina took aim. 1 shot. All 3 targets hit through indirect trajectory. No second shot needed. A staff sergeant whispered, "Only Ghost Recon knew that technique. Curved bullets were supposed to be myth, but she just made it real." Marina rolled up her sleeve, revealing a faded silver and black insignia. Ghost Recon 017. The only unit to survive the Takhar ambush in Afghanistan, 2005, but erased from official records due to classified mission parameters. An older man in the crowd stepped forward, a retired general who'd been the commanding officer who'd ordered her discharge 20 years ago. His hands shook, eyes filling with tears. He approached, stood at attention, and saluted. "Lieutenant Colonel Reyes, I'm sorry for letting you live in silence for 20 years. The crowd murmured. This wasn't just any marksman. This was the marksman, the one from the stories soldiers told but never quite believed. Marina's voice was steady but quiet. "Sir, you did what the mission required. Some operations need to stay buried. But the cost to you, the cost was mine to pay. I made choices that saved lives, and choices that haunted me. The silence was healing." A young recruit raised his hand. "Ma'am, why did you come back?" After all these years, Marina looked around at the faces watching her. Young soldiers, just like she'd been once, full of confidence, untested by real combat. Because I saw young people laughing at things they didn't understand. And I remembered being young like that. Before I learned that sometime, the most dangerous person in the room looks like the least dangerous. The commanding officer stepped forward. "Ma'am, would you consider training our advanced marksmen? Your techniques could save lives. My techniques were learned in places you hope these soldiers never have to go. But if it keeps them alive..." She paused, looking at the recruits who'd mocked her. "Then yes, I'll teach." One of the soldiers who'd laughed at her earlier approached. "Ma'am, I'm sorry. I didn't know." "You weren't supposed to know. That was the point. But now you do know. That respect isn't earned by appearance. It's earned by what someone can do when everything is on the line." The retired general spoke to the assembled troops. "This woman saved more lives than any of you will probably see in your entire careers." She did it quietly, efficiently, and then she disappeared, because that's what the mission required. Marina added, "The hardest part of being a soldier isn't pulling the trigger, it's knowing when not to, and knowing when to step back, so others can step forward." A recruit asked, "What's the most important thing you learned?" "That the best shots are the ones you never have to take, but when you do have to take them, make them count." Comment, "I owe someone if someone protected you and you never knew their name." Marina declined all official training positions. "I've done my part. It's time for younger people to write the next chapter." But every week she returned to the range, not under orders, just to clean rifle scopes and help soldiers who were struggling with their accuracy. She taught without manuals, without PowerPoint presentations, just simple corrections. Breathe deeper, squeeze slower, respect the weapon. One day she didn't come. On the stone bench behind target number 3, there was an old piece of paper, handwriting slightly trembling. "Don't aim to hit the target if you don't know why you're pulling the trigger." Ghost Recon. From that day forward, the range was renamed Reyes 017 Shooting Complex, for those who don't need to be known, but cannot be forgotten. 3 months later, the Advanced Marksman program had a 40% higher success rate. 6 months after that, soldiers trained at Sandridge were outperforming snipers from other bases. When asked about their superior training, they all said the same thing. "We learned from Ghost Recon. She taught us that shooting isn't about the gun, it's about the person holding it." A year later, a small memorial plaque appeared near the 300-meter line. Some legends are too important to remain stories. But the most important legacy wasn't on any plaque. It was in the dozens of soldiers who learned that true skill doesn't need to announce itself. That the deadliest person in the room might be the quietest one. That respect is earned through competence, not conversation. Today, military instructors across the country still teach ricochet techniques that originated with Marina Reyes. They don't know her name, don't know her story. But every time a soldier makes an impossible shot, every time someone succeeds against overwhelming odds, every time skill triumphs over assumption, her legacy lives on, not because she wanted fame, but because she understood that true mastery means teaching others to surpass you. Be like Marina. Let your actions speak louder than your words. And when people underestimate you, show them what quiet competence can accomplish. Comment, "I'll live better if you believe legends can hide in plain sight." Marina Reyes, Ghost Recon, didn't need newspaper coverage or viral videos or ceremony stages. She just needed an old shooting range and young people who hadn't lost the ability to respect experience. We often mistake silence for weakness, but sometimes the quietest people are the ones who once protected an entire generation's right to speak. If you meet someone who doesn't talk much, don't rush to judge. They might have already protected everything you're living for. Look closer. Listen better, and remember that the most dangerous person in the room might be the one everyone ignores. The most skilled person on your team might be the one who never mentions their qualifications. And the most important lessons often come from people who've earned the right to stay quiet. Honor the quiet ones. Learn from them. And when your moment comes to prove yourself, let your actions do the talking. Because true legends don't need their names in lights. They just need to know that what they taught kept people safe. Comment, "She spoke through action," if this story changed how you see quiet people.